Hello world, my name is Dana I.D. Matthews and welcome to my reviews about stuff episode 8. Now today I'm going to be talking about the movie Logan. Everybody is raving about it and for good reason. Now I recently went to go see it with some dope friends of mine and I'm just going to say this flat out. Logan has changed the way superhero movies are viewed and done because this movie has literally everything going for it. I mean, there's action, there's deep emotional connections, there's even race issues, there's mystery, there's light, there's dark, there's great acting by everyone, side characters and main protagonists alike. Now, the movie opens up giving action junkies what they want to see from Wolverine. And it lets you know ASAP that this movie is not for children. It's rated R for a reason. You know, in the past, I always wondered if some of these superheroes were killing the common thug type bad guys that they're just stepping over with one blast or one punch or kick, or are they just knocking them unconscious, or what's the deal? Well, Logan goes right ahead and lets you know it's the former, straight up murder. Now, Logan, at the beginning of the movie, Logan wakes up in a car and it's being stolen for its parts by Latino gangsters. And upon seeing him awaken and get out of the car, Logan gets a shotgun to the chest ASAP. And it's all downhill from there for the gangsters. To say they got fucked up would be an understatement. Logan's claws are on full display as he stabs in brutal fashion through every body part imaginable with great, graphics and blood and guts everywhere. You notice pretty quickly that Logan's healing ability has slowed down and looks noticeably much older than he did in previous movies. The shotgun bullets that he got shot with by the first Latino gangster, they don't just pop out of his chest like they would. Instead, he's got to, dig his fingers in there and dig them out, and it clearly hurts him to do so. And even with his movements and swinging and stuff, he looks just a little more sluggish. Soon after we meet Professor X, and throughout the whole movie, Professor X gives you the feels hard. His mind is deteriorating. You see him kind of rambling randomly, popping in and out of coherent thought. While Logan is trying to medicate him and keep his psychic powers under control, because obviously a man with the type of mental powers that Charles Xavier has, not in proper check, is basically like a weapon of mass destruction. Now, the relationship between Logan and Charles Xavier is very much like a father and son relationship. Later in their life, the son's maybe 30, 40, and the father is 60s, 70s, 80s. And it's a relationship that you could tell by their facial expressions and interactions. There's obviously lots of joy and love, but also filled with a lot of sadness and regret. But they do have their good moments where you see that they clearly have a strong bond, and they wouldn't obviously stay together all this time if they didn't. Now, what was really cool was the little girl in this movie. She was absolutely fantastic. You'd think that without a lot of dialogue, as she doesn't speak much for most of the movie, that she wouldn't be able to display her full acting potential. But through her facial expressions and her body language, like, just the child actor is very, very, very good. I was very impressed. She's given claws similar to Wolverine, raised by scientists and soldiers. So she has a lot of aggression. And the fight scenes where, they're basically tearing shit up, slashing everybody, proving that. There's a moment where Wolverine has to, like, pull her back from going ham on somebody. And it was funny because, if Wolverine is telling you to calm down, then you probably got some issues. Um, Her relationship with Logan and Professor X really hits home in this movie. And to be honest, I'm surprised I didn't cry. It was that good. She starts off, cool with Professor X right away for reasons because I don't want to spoil things, but takes a while to warm up to Logan. But soon you see her start to see him as a father figure, and of course he has a hard time with that as he's always been the lone wolf type of person. No pun intended. Uh, you know what? No pun intended. That's there on purpose. Um, and even though the good relationships he's had with other X-Men, it always took a while for that relationship to build to a point where they're like clear friends, you know what I mean? Um, Now there's a specific scene in the movie that I have to talk about because I'm not trying to spoil the movie. It's just at the end of the day, like straight up, it's just fantastic. And I would just say go see it, and then we could talk about it because I don't want to ruin it for anybody on here. But there is a scene, and I have to talk about it, and it really affected me. And that was when Professor X and Logan and the young child are driving on the road for reasons, and by happenstance, they end up spending the night at a young black family's household. A teenage son, middle-aged woman, and a middle-aged man. Hardworking, loving people whose energy and spiritual love um, sparks smiles and laughs from the girl Logan and Professor X. They're just sitting there around a table talking. Logan is referring to Professor X as his father, and one could assume that they see the little girl as his daughter. And before that, you don't really see them smile that much. So that the scene where they're around a table having dinner and eating and talking about stories of the past, in a way, where they're not trying to divulge too much because these people don't know that they're mutants. But, they're having a good time, a nice family, heartwarming time. And you could tell that they were really enjoying it. And there's a scene even after where, Professor Xavier is saying how much he likes and appreciates this. And he's telling Logan to, soak it up. This is what family is like. It was just a really endearing scene. But of course, as an audience member, the good moments could not last long, and some shit's about to go down. And side note, at the end of the day, it's a black family. They're gonna die. Black man, black woman. It doesn't matter. If there's a black person there and there haven't been black people in the movie, they're dying. That's just a thing that Hollywood does. It is what it is. So the family has a water problem. This is how it starts. Has a water problem. So Logan and the father, they're living in the country. So Logan and the father go out of the household. They go outside and fix the issue with the well or whatever source they're using for water. And as they finish fixing it, a group of white people, white men, who you can tell that they're racist. They try to say that you can't use the water, and then the black father saying he had a deal with the previous owner, but this is the new owner, and obviously he was a little more racist than the old owner. So he's like, no, you can't do this, and then he's like, the drill, turn around, and he has a gun, obviously, the drill, and keep walking or whatever. But the black guy had a little gun too, and I don't know, I thought shit was about to pop off. And at that time, Logan, he steps in, basically tells them to f off, as quietly as possible at first, but still menacing, letting them know he means business. And it's funny because they try to offer him a job, like, oh, you're so and so's got a bodyguard now. I'm like, oh, it's one hell of a bodyguard, I'll tell you that. But so they keep insisting that the black father can't have any water and whatnot, and Logan just fuck off and beats a couple of them up, and they go on their merry way. And that is until they get back to the house and shit goes down. So again, as not to spoil certain things, I will omit storyline plots here. But long story short, there are active bad guys trying to find a young girl that Logan and Professor X are traveling with, and with help from somebody, they find them at this young black family's household. And as expected, the first black people in this movie, they all die. But it's the way that they die that really gets me. So the bad guys have a weapon. Um, Spoiler alert: it's a new and improved, young, fresh Wolverine, like newly made, with no soul, basically. Um, P.S. I wish that the main bad guy in this was a little cooler or had some better power or gimmick that was better than his little mechanical arm. He was still a good actor, um, but I just found his character itself to be rather boring. But everything else was so well done. It's a small dent that does not that like it does nothing to make the movie worse. Now back to what I was saying. So there's a teenage son, a mother, and a father. This new Wolverine, he finds the house, gets in, kills the son, then kills the mother, and mortally wounds the father. But the father is still able to move. So the father is able to get outside and do some damage on this new Wolverine. And now here's the part that gets to me. So the father has just seen his family killed by the new Wolverine, and seeing old Wolverine fight with them, obviously revealing the fact that he is a mutant. So he's mortally wounded. He's slowly dying, about to die. He watches old Wolverine get up, and with new Wolverine momentarily out of the way, he holds up his shotgun, looking at old Logan in a kind of unsure way. They just had this awesome time in the house, and he helped save him from the racist, and so he's kind of looking at Logan in a confused sort of fashion. And in the last moments before dying, you can see his face go from confusion to, basically, this is my interpretation of it, to fuck it, your mutant ass got my family killed, even though you helped me, fuck you, and tries to take a shot at Logan, but the shotgun is empty. He stares at Logan and dies. Now, the moment itself, fucked me up psychologically, but the expression on Wolverine's face is heart crunching, and it's not like a drastic expression. It's very subtle, but it says so much. You can tell that this is the kind of thing that has been torturing Logan and most likely all other mutants for a long time. And added with Logan, he says that people around him die. Everybody he befriends dies, and it's looking like that. So I couldn't imagine. And with the added racism involved in the scenes before, it just crushes your soul, and you can't help but feel bad all around for everybody, for the black family, for the little girl, for Logan, and all of mutant kind, and Professor Xavier with his issues. There's just so many feels, so many. This movie has completely reinvented what a superhero movie is, and has given it a sense of realism that no other superhero movie has done in the past. There are shows that try to be more realistic, but this one definitely is like realistic. Like you could totally imagine if mutants and superpowers and all that shit were real. Like it most likely might be like this. And man, I could honestly ramble about every scene in this movie, but it was so good that I don't want to spoil too much. Instead, I'm just going to say this. You want action and gore? You got it. You want deep emotional connections? You got it. You want very good acting? You got it. You want superheroes? You got it. You obviously got it. This movie gives you literally everything. It's slow and emotional when it needs to be. It's fast-paced and actiony when it needs to be. And the action scenes are very, very well done. It literally has everything. It's not only the best superhero movie out there, in my opinion, but it's just a well-done, super awesome movie, period. And it's funny because I think it's Fox that worked on this, which is weird because they haven't done good with superhero stuff in the past. And it got to the point where you'd want somebody like Marvel to pick it up and try and make it better. But if they can keep that up in the way that they delivered this movie and try and deliver other ones in a similar way, or with just as much realism and mix of both slow and fast-paced action, it could really turn into something great. So with that said, I am more than happy to give Logan my official review score of 10 out of 10. This movie is life enriching. After you see it, you'll feel a little bit of everything: happy, sad, angry, hopeful. It doesn't get any better than this, and if it does, I don't even know if I can handle it. Like I said, I was super, super, super surprised that I did not cry, because this movie gives you the feels in every single way possible. There are times that are funny when funny moments happen in the movie when it shouldn't be funny, but it's just the way that it's delivered. People in the theater start laughing anyways. It's just really, really well done. Subtle movie tricks here and there, and it cuts in the right places and stuff. Like, it's just so well done. So with that said, that's it for me. My name is Dana I.D. Matthews. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Go see Logan. Just do it. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week. Peace out.